If you use AI and you don't have a note-taking system, you have to start one now. Last year, MIT did a study that found something called the cognitive debt when you use AI. The idea that if you use AI very passively and it's guiding your thinking and giving you output without you in participating in it, then you get worse memory. It makes it really difficult for you to engage in higher order cognitive activities, and you lose ownership. What happens is then when you say, okay, we're going to take AI away from you now, you don't come back to your original self who can still think. Rather, people found it really difficult to think through any problem. This is why having a sacred place to really protect your mental abilities is going to be very important. And note-taking is a great place to do that. The second reason is it's increasingly clear that the future of work involves you, involves the work itself, and then involves the agent that stays in the middle. Whether that's actually going to be agent, whether that's going to be some version, evolution of an agent, who knows. But it's clear that the AI, the LLM brain, needs to read information and to be able to understand it and digest it. And we've now known that all of these AI agents love something called a Markdown file. It's basically like a Word document or a Google Doc, except it has some simple structures to it, and it's really easy for the AI to understand without parsing through everything that's in a PDF or in a Word document. So that's why you want to make sure you have a note-taking system that has, ideally, Markdown files for the agent to start to digest so that you can work together and really super boost what it is that you can do. Luckily, for those of us who use Obsidian, it already works with Markdown files. So you don't have to convert all of your files into Markdown files. All of your ideas, all of your thoughts are already in MD files. But because we are working with AI in mind, there are actually 5 types of files that you want to have in your Obsidian. Of course, it doesn't have to be Obsidian. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, except that I find it really helpful to use Obsidian to take notes and to think. But you can do it in Apple Notes, you can do it in Notion, you can do it wherever. It's just that at the end, if you work with AI, make sure you convert it into an MD file so it's easy for the AI to use. All right, then let's get into the 5 types of notes that your AI can use so that you move away from the averaging down of the ability of the AI and you use quality thinking, quality ideas so that it can help you create quality outputs. All right, first, let's talk about the big picture. What do I mean by taking notes inside Obsidian in the age of AI? Which AI are you talking about? How does it all work? Let's talk about big picture here. So first, you have Obsidian. Okay, this is where we take our notes. Okay, so inside, as I was mentioning before, you have these little files called MD files. They're just like Word, but they're easier to read for agents. That's agents' preferred format. So inside your Obsidian, you have all of these notes. Those are your ideas. Okay. So before AI, what happened was, here's me. I am, writing into it. I am editing it. I'm reading it. And this is where I think, right? If you think about tools for thought, it's just I'm taking some ideas that are vague in my head, I'm putting it into little cards inside Obsidian, and this way it helps me see the things that I'm thinking about so that I can go further. Okay, that's the basic presumption of why you should think outside of your head so that you can go further and you can remember more things and work on more things. All right. But in the age of AI, I don't know how to draw AI, like a robot maybe. Let me give it some eyes and a smile for a friendly AI. What happens is the AI can now also do the same. It can read, it can write, it can edit, if you would like. And so what AI do I mean by this? Specifically, I mean an agent. And so this is things like Claude Code or, OpenAI's Codex, or OpenClaw or whatever other agents that exist out there today. Now, you might already be like, whoa, like I'm not even done using chat yet. What kind of agents are you talking about? It's really not that bad. It looks a bit technical, but it is not at all technical. All you do is talk English or whatever language it is you speak to it. So it looks a bit technical, so technical people might have a slight advantage here, but do not be afraid. And I'll show you how to do this. Now, how do you get AI agent to look at your Obsidian? There are several ways. I'll show you the one that I think looks the most intuitive to use, which is inside Obsidian. So what you'll see in just a moment is here is your Obsidian, and you'll have some sidebar here. Here is your node. Here is your brilliant idea. And then at the bottom, here is Claude Code. I'll use Claude Code as the agent of choice. Everyone seems to be moving that way. I've been using it. It's been really helpful and easy to set up, not so much security concerns like they have with OpenClaw. You can also use Codex. It's all very similar. But this is what I'll show you. So that in your note-taking system, here is, you thinking with your note, and then here is AI assisting you in your thinking. Okay, so that's the general idea. Okay, so with that, then what does the AI agent need to know in order for it to function well, right? We're not just going to point it to a bunch of documents. What we want is for it to help us do the work that we do. And in order to do that, you have to give it context. So we want to create context for AI, and there are 5 types of notes for AI to do that. And the first one is a about me. So the first context you want to give AI is who are you, what do you care about, what do you not care about, so that it doesn't use the average assumption of you are an average person out in the world doing very average things, right? Instead, you tell it, hey, this is me, this is what I care about, and I'm going to let you know so that whenever you're helping me read through something, you can understand what it is that I care about, what it is that I don't care about, and bring it back to my goals, my dreams, my strengths and weaknesses. All right, so that's that. Now I want to show you on Obsidian what that looks like. This is a giant document. Here's my Obsidian, by the way. I've got lots of notes. You don't have to start here, by the way. If you don't have any notes, don't worry. Let's not look at this. You'll see something like this, a very fresh note. And you just need to set up these 5 things to get started. Okay, so the first one is the about me. Let me show you mine. I'm not going to actually show you all the details because this is very personal. But I will talk through what is included. It's got more than 60 questions, and I'll put the template down below so you can download it. If you want to use my template, you can of course tweak it if you like. But mine includes first a personal background. So, who I am, really going way back, like when I was a kid, what was it like? Then in my life, where did I go to school? What did I study? Why was I interested in those things? Which jobs did I have? I really went deep on who it is I am as a person so that it understands the things that pique my interest. Okay, I talk about my values and the experiences that shape my values, because it's easy to think that, with AI, you should just give facts and it should be able to understand. But we have to understand that with the way that LLMs are shaped, actually giving it more context around what is the vibe, what is the feel, what is the soul. If you've been in the OpenClaw discussions, you hear that, each AI has a soul file that tells it what's your personality, what are the things that you're for and you're against. Those are really great to set the context for how it's going to behave. All right, so I'm telling it my my values, my principles, my strengths and weaknesses. Again, you can find it in the document to fill out everything. Then I talk about, what's currently going on in my life and work. So my current role, my current focus. I talk about what are my main responsibilities right now, what projects are taking up lots of my time. And then I talk about my business. So if you don't have a business, you can skip this. It could be your hobbies that you're really into, or it could be something else that's consuming your time. For me, it's my business. So I'm giving it a business snapshot of, my business model, or what's the team structure like, all of these good things. Then there's vision and goals. So, we're moving towards somewhere. All of the things I'm working on shape the vision and the goals that I'm trying to achieve. So I talk through what's my 3-year, 5-year vision. I talk through opportunities that I see I'm interested in. And then I also talk about challenges and roadblocks. So this way it helps it understand what is it that, either I'm working on getting over, or what is it that I don't want to do? What is it that I should be focusing on? So again, giving more context. All right. I also talk about, what drains my energy, what doesn't drain my energy, what kind of risks are holding me back, so that it can start to get a fuller picture of who I am and what are the things I want to work on. Okay. Then something a bit more tactical, because this is the dream with AI. As much as I love working with people, it's also really nice to have another type of support that can adapt to me without any problems, right? So I tell it my decision-making and working style so that it knows how do I prefer to learn, how do I make big decisions, how do I handle failures, do I consider them failures? I also talk about what do I focus, is it more on opportunities, more on problem solving, and what kind of person I am. Like, do I enjoy more of the visionary stuff, or do I like more of the operator stuff, so that it can know how to work better with me. Okay. Then also, for me, financials and resource position is important, especially because I run a business. So I always talk about my numbers. So we go through that. We go through marketing and sales. We go through product and operations. So we really go through all of these parts of my business. Then in the end, there's a long-term legacy. This is actually a really interesting section. For me, I've never really thought about this, like leaving a legacy. To me, that sounds a bit self-absorbed. But I did work with an executive coach who helped me think through what is it that you want others to perceive and say about you, so that you're not just operating solely on the ideals in your mind, but you're also aware of how you fit into your society, your community. And so I filled this part out. Take it or leave it. If this is important to you, make it even bigger. But I thought it was a good exercise, because what you notice about this About Me document is that at the end, it helps you think more clearly about who you are, what do you care about. You might say, I don't know what my values are. Well, great, right? Just working through this document alone will give you some clarity. And that's really the intent of why we take notes, is to, in our head, we think, yeah, I have values, right? Yeah, I know who I am. But when you have to put them into words in front of you, you realize, oh, actually, there are things that I never thought about, but I want to think about. Okay, so that's note type number 1, about me. Now, the second type of file we're going to do is a changelog. And I do mine monthly. So a lot of people do daily notes. I have tried them many times, and to me it is just not that helpful for me. So I do journal, but I journal on paper and pen, and I don't manage my to-dos inside Obsidian. I feel like once I bring the more practical things, I find it really difficult to focus on working on ideas. I'm always thinking about, oh, what's the next to do? So I don't do a daily note, but it is important to reflect, and I do my changelog monthly. And what this is just a simple, let me show you, a simple document that dumps new information about what I'm thinking about, right? We have the about me, which goes through, these are all of the things from my childhood all the way up here. These are the things that happen. But my changelog is, hey, what's happening now, right? Instead of going in the about me and continuously update it, which I don't do, instead I do these changelogs so that you can see, okay, right now in April, I'm putting some ideas aside. I'm focusing on something else. I haven't made a decision. These are just brainstorming ideas, somewhere for my ideas to go, so that every month I can not only jot down the things that are in my mind, but also I can do a last month reflection and to see, where do I want to shift my energy? How am I going in general? Very casual for me. I just have this month's idea and then last month's reflection, and I add on this throughout the month. Having this changelog does a couple of things. Number one is you don't have to go back to the about me and always update it every single month and feeling like it's kind of getting out of control. Every single year you do a about me and you do a changelog. Then because you have AI, you can get AI to update at the end of the year what are the things that changed, or spot the things that it needs to ask you, interview you in order for it to update the about me. And the changelog are more of a progression month on month of what's happening. The second thing is it helps you track all of the thoughts in one place during the month. What I've noticed, at least with myself, is that, throughout the month, my mind is going all over the place, and I don't have one place of tracking those ideas that I have. And once I start to notice, some ideas just keep on coming back. So instead of tracking all of that in my mind, I track it in the changelog so that then I can get the AI to say, okay, in 2026, what are the ideas that I kept on looping on? And it'll be able to tell me without me thinking, did I think about this? Was that this year, last year? You don't have to worry about that. You have the AI to help you with it. Now, you might be wondering, what is this properties thing? I'll cover all of that in a bit, but I want to give you just the general sense of what are the type of notes you have to have before we get into the technical things. Okay. Then let's come back and let's do the third type of note is my favorite, which are your ideas. So this makes up, out of all of my notes, I don't even know how many I have, 90% of it are my ideas. So a OneNote, by the way, even though, I say 5 types of notes and, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but in numbers, they're very different, right? There's only one about me and there's 12 changelog during a year. And there's, 90% of your ideas eventually are going to belong into the third category. But for simplicity's sake, they're all equally important when you're working with an AI. And again, I'll show you how to add the AI in just a moment, but I want to show you first how to set up your idea notes. Okay, for the idea note, there are just a couple of small rules. Number one, it has to be atomic. Okay, so I'm using the Zettelkasten method. So this means instead of writing a huge essay on what your idea is and all of the sub rabbit holes that you're going through, I put my ideas into atomic units. This way it's a lot easier for them to be connected. This way it's a lot easier for me to articulate something, and it prevents me from procrastinating of, I've got this giant idea and I need to sit down for 2 hours to write it, and I never do. So instead it's, okay, I've got this maybe giant idea, but what's that one small thing I can articulate and then connect it to another one? And the second thing is it needs to be rephrased in my words. So let's say, if I read a book and there was a nice idea in there, or if I watched a video, heard a podcast, and I thought, that idea is interesting, I don't just copy and paste the quotes. I rephrase it and I then expand on why is it meaningful for me? What am I thinking about when I'm thinking through this idea so that it is mine? And it's really important, especially when you're working with AI on notes and you might give it the permission to even write some notes for you. You want to separate what is it that are yours and what is it that's the AI. That brings me to the third rule, which is ideas have to be connected to at least one other note wherever possible. I don't understand if you're on the go and you're typing in your note, maybe you can do that later, but wherever possible, you want your notes to be connected. And this is really the power of Obsidian. That's different from a database, very structured way of thinking about ideas that you might see in Notion. It's why there is a graph view, in the sense that these notes, all of these lines means that the notes are connected to something, right? And by connecting your ideas, you start to really build on that idea, right? You start to build context around it. This is the lattice work that we're hanging on our ideas onto. So you want to make sure that the ideas are connected, okay? And so what does one look like? Let's take one I'm recently working on. Creativity is the new ceiling of productivity. I really think this is key going forward. And to me, it's about, because AI can do so much now, it can execute so much. Execution is not the key to productivity, right? Like it because AI can do it, because there's an abundance of it, what we're looking for is not about how many things can you do, but rather the creativity of what is it that you choose to do, how effective is it really going to be, what kind of ideas are you going to bring to the table. I had another video on this, like, is the ideas more important or execution more important? I think we had the majority favoring execution, but I'd really want to challenge that a little bit because we can execute on anything with the help of AI, but what's actually worth executing on, right? Using all of this energy or using all of this mental capacity, all of this intelligence, whether it's artificial or human. So you have to be able to create something with value, and maybe even something, I don't want to say unique, but at least with your point of view injected into it. Okay. So that's what the idea looks like. I always have a properties created for the date. This is simply for me to have a general sense of when I thought of this. So I can tell, oh, is this idea 3 years old? Do I want to update it? Or did I have this, just last month? So it's still fresh and I can think about the context that way. Then there's a connection in the note. Connecting to notes is marked by this double brackets, and then you just type in the note name so that it would be connected. So for example, I can connect creativity requires constraint as a note, and then it will be connected. So when I press, it actually links to that note. All right, so now I want to address quickly this question of what should I tag it with? Do I use tags? Do I use it under properties? Like, what's the best way to set the note up? Honestly, especially if you're just starting with not that many notes, you don't have to worry about any structure. Honestly, all you need is the note is atomic, is rephrased in your own words, and is connected with at least one other note. That's it. Why I don't recommend structure is because at this point you don't have enough to have structure, and because AI is here, so AI can add the structure for you. For example, this properties I didn't start until pretty recently, and then what I can do with AI is just to tell it, hey, for all the notes that don't have properties, just look up when I first created the note and add properties for me. And it can do that. So you don't have to worry about architecting all of the structures when you don't need it. And when you do need it, you can get AI to help you sort through it. So I would not worry about it too much, because I've seen so many people get stuck on, oh, but should I tag it? Should I add more YAML front matter? Like, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The idea is the most important. The only other thing I would say is just make that note title clear so that it actually conveys what is the central idea. Otherwise, it makes it very difficult for you to read, and also for the LLM, whatever agent you're using, to understand what's inside. Now, let's talk about the fourth type of note that we're going to do. Because we have idea nodes in 3, the next one, logically, is output notes. And what I mean by this is, out of all the ideas that you've had, how does it then become an output that you use, right? For me, it's all of these ideas. I might turn them into newsletter articles. I might turn them into YouTube videos. I might turn them into lessons in my courses. So I want to have the output also in Obsidian. This does a few things. Number one, it creates examples for the LLM of your choice to see, oh, this is what a good output looks like. And, if you feel like, oh, I don't know if it's good, at least this is what Vicky's output looks like, okay, for now. Second, then naturally, what you're going to be able to do with your LLM is to get it to generate voice and style guides for you. So this way you don't have to say, oh, I like my output to look this way, or think through it in this kind of structure and wonder if you're saying it right. You can just get your AI to analyze all of the output that you have and help you see what is your style, what is your way of talking about things. Okay. And the third one is make it easier to connect and build going forward. So the ideas themselves are kind of like raw blocks that you're building, and you're using them in different ways. But once you build output, then you can get AI to help you link back to the outputs. So every time I'm doing a new YouTube video, and instead of me trying to remember, oh, I think I wrote an article on this, or oh, I think I have another YouTube video, it can help you surface what it is that you've already done and help you link to them so that your body of work continue to grow. So let me show you some examples in Obsidian. And by the way, don't be too precious with this. For example, I have a folder that's called past content that has my emails and YouTube outputs, but honestly, there's like 67 files in the email one, which I've written a lot more than 67 articles. YouTube, I only have 87 files. I've done a lot more than 87 YouTube videos. So you don't have to think, oh, I have to create this beautiful archive that includes everything that I've done. You definitely can do that, but especially if you haven't been tracking your output notes, just take the best 5, the best 3, and start from there. Already it can help you build the beginning of a really great example, the voice and style guide, and also help you start to connect some of your ideas as you build new ones. So you don't have to do it all at once. And that's the past example. And I'll show you in a moment, when we get the AI into Obsidian, how then we can use it to create style guides. Okay, so that's the fourth type of note. And then let's get to the fifth type of note, which are source nodes. So this is a boring one, but an important one. And all it means is that we want to be able to track where ideas come from. And depending on how important this is in the work that you do, you want to dial up or dial down the sophistication for this. For me, I'm pretty easygoing with this. I just want to be able to find where this idea came from and, follow my breadcrumbs to make sure I don't have a bunch of notes that I think are useful, but a year later when I look at it, I'm thinking, where did I get this idea from? What is the bigger context if I want to find it? So my source notes are just regular notes, and let me show you. On the topic of creativity, I think there's a good one I can show you about. Here. Okay. This is a great example where I took this note while reading. So my source note is just indicated by me typing source : and then I have a note that refers to the book. And that book, if I took other notes, as you'll see I did, I have 5 more notes that come from this book, then I can track back what are the ideas that's related to this book. So my source note is pretty simple. And, some people like to put in the page number, the chapter number of where it came from. If it's helpful for you, definitely do that. For me, I wasn't too worried about it. So all I did was source underneath the note and linked the book name to it. And I just make sure that for other notes, if I refer to this book, I use the exact same source note so that I can track not just back to the source, but also from the source, I can see what other ideas are there. That's very easy. If you need something a bit more substantial, definitely you can do that. Or if you need something that's linked to specific people, I see that some people like to make source notes around a person. That's also a really great way of doing it. You can do multiple, so you could do source with the book, and then you can also create a person note so that this way you take the person as well as the book. Maybe the person has written multiple books. Like if you read a bunch of Malcolm Gladwell books, you want to be able to track it back to Malcolm Gladwell, but you also want to be able to track back to the person. Then you can put multiple source there. I'm not going to do it for Gary because I don't know how many sources I'm going to use from him, so I'll just leave it at that. But this is one of the examples of doing source. Just make sure you have it. You have no idea. Sometimes I find an old note, I'm so excited about it, and then there's no source. It makes it so frustrating to then try to track down the source. So while you're in the note, make sure you create the source note. All right, so we have our 5 types with notes, but now how does AI actually go into this, right? So what we're going to do is get your AI agent to be able to read, maybe even write, and really just understand the context without you needing to every single time prompt it like, here's what I want to achieve, here are where things are, okay? So we are going to use Claude Code. This is what I use, and I find it quite easy to do, but you can use it with other things like OpenAI's Codex. And what we're going to do with Claude Code is you just go to their documentation website. I'll put the link down below as well. And the instructions are really clear. You just have to be okay with using terminal. So if you're not technical, don't worry, it's not that complicated. What you'll do is, if you're on the Mac, Command spacebar and type in terminal. And if you're on Windows, I believe it's the Window key and type in CMD for command. All right, so what you do is exactly follow this. Literally copy. You don't have to understand what it says, but if you want to understand, it's just telling your computer to download Claude Code. Mine's already downloaded, so I'll show you the next step, which is in your Obsidian, go down to settings, go to community plugin. If you haven't enabled it, turn it on, and then go for browse and check terminal. I found this to be the best way and really easy to understand way of using Claude Code inside your Obsidian, and just download it. I already have it downloaded, so it's already enabled. But once you enable it, you'll be able to see this little icon here that says Open Terminal. So just click it and click Integrated so that the little terminal window opens inside your Obsidian. Then what you'll see is now you have your notes and you have your AI inside your Obsidian. So what this means is just, okay, this is Vicky's computer and we are in her vault, which is called Zettelkasten. If your vault is called something else, you'll see it show up here, which means that we are currently in the vault, and within that vault, then we can type in Claude to run it. All right, once you see this little guy, you know that Claude Code is now inside your Obsidian vault, so to speak, and you can get it to do all sorts of things. The number one thing I'd like Claude to do is just to help me with some admin structural things. So I mentioned previously that, it was pretty recent that I started adding properties. So basically is a YAML front matter that give Obsidian some ideas around the structure of your node. So you can do a few things, but one of the things I like to do is create it. I don't remember when this node was created, but if I go to the node and I look at the information inside, I'll be able to see when I created this node first. So instead of me going to do that, I'm just going to get Claude to do it. So what you can do is just talk English to it. For all nodes with hashtag quote, add the date created property based on when each node was created. Let's just say do it for nodes related to creativity. Now, just press enter and it's going to get to work. Let's give it a few minutes. As you can see, already this created has been filled. I don't remember that I read this in 2025, July 21st, but there you go. That's when I created this node. And this type of grunt work is great to throw it to Claude or any other agent that you might be using, so you don't have to hold yourself back by thinking, oh, but then I didn't fill out the properties, or oh, that's creating friction, because you can always do it later with Claude. The second thing you can think through is, of course, with your ideas. I did a whole other video on this, so I won't go into details here, but because it has access to all of your ideas, it can go through and it can pick out what are the topics that you're always interested in, or where should you go next to explore. And check out my other video to get a sense of what's inside my vault and what are some of the things it can suggest. All right, the third thing we can talk about is, of course, the output and building some voice guides. So what we can do, let's come back and we can go into our past content. Let's say the YouTube ideas, and we'll copy the path so that Claude knows which folder I'm actually talking about, and say, help me create a voice guide based on the first, let's say, 5 transcripts inside this file path. And so now Claude is able to go in there, take a look at some of the transcripts, and be able to distill for me, how does my voice sound? Well, let's give it a few seconds to come up with this. All right, let's take a look at what it found. All right, so it took these transcripts and it came up with a guide. I could not have articulated that these are my signature cadence, or that what I'm avoiding are overqualifying or long intros or lists without narrative. But it's great to get someone else who can analyze this. And this is only 5 transcripts just to show an example. But what I have inside my YouTube extractions is also, I group it by different types of videos so that I can get a really specific one for if I'm explaining a concept, what is my style? If I'm showing you how to use a tool, what is my style? So you can really go granular here. The more context you have, the more accurate you're going to be able to get things like this. And it even shows out a few patterns that I don't really know. Like, I didn't know that I always open with a relatable failure, but I guess, I've had so many that I like to start there. I quote Charlie Munger's lattice work. That is really such a visual for me to understand how my knowledge hang on to something. So I use that a lot. Teaching style is demo first. Show the example while explaining, not after. Well, there you go. These are some of the things that I cannot tell you very consciously that I'm doing, which is great to get AI to do that for you. Now, in reality, I would also go further. As I'm seeing this, I also think about when I think about content, who is the person that I'm talking to? I would put that in here, or at least get it to start building a draft for me. Also, I want to then point it to frameworks, like how can I improve my videos so that they're engaging without making them really cliche and just attention grabbing for the sake of that. I would actually have a way longer conversation than this, but you get the idea of when you have an AI inside your Obsidian, then you can do a lot more with it. Now, the thing that I want to make sure that you think through is whether, one, you're okay with your agent saving things into your vault or not. For me, I want to be able to make sure that whatever LLMs came up with, their voice, their output is not mixed with mine. So I have a rule that says that if you create files like this one, you will have a tag that says LLM generated. So whenever it is that I point my Claude Code to my ideas, I always make sure to tell it, do not reference any notes that are LLM generated. This way I can separate my vault from my ideas and their ideas, my voice and their voice. For some people also, they like to keep it complete separate, keep a different vault. I try to do it in the same vault because sometimes I want to be able to link to it. Like if ChatGPT and I had a really long conversation on how to understand foreign currency today with economics, and I want to be able to save some of the ideas there. I don't necessarily want to rephrase it, but I want to use it as a reference document. Then there's no reason, at least for me, to rewrite everything. So that's why I just use a simple tag, and this way I can just immediately point to all the notes with the tag LLM generated are not written by me, so don't reference them when you are looking at my ideas. So that's one thing to keep in mind. There are really a million different ways to use your AI with your notes inside your second brain, because now you can have someone who can read, understand, and even help you expand on the ideas that you have, on the thought processes, and help you process through things. So I'll cut it here because we've got on a really long time. But if you have questions, you have ideas, just let me know down in the section below, and I'm going to make more videos on this. I really love how this powers my second brain and get me to go further with my ideas. So let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.